So this is a guided exploration to eliminate overthinking. And it has 3 steps: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. I recommend you doing the 5-minute version before we jump into the 20-minute version, or to do this at bedtime. So just in this moment, notice, what are your eyes focused upon? And if they're focused upon my image on the screen, just notice the background. And then notice the screen itself. And if the eyes are not focused on the screen, what are they focused on? And just notice, if you were a baby, that you wouldn't know what that was because you hadn't learned to think yet. It's just a color and a shape happening in this moment. And is it possible to notice around whatever you're looking at are more shapes and colors? The mind may be giving them labels, but just notice that's just a voice. You learned that. And that voice will come and it will go. Well, let's look at the moment between those labels. And then, is it possible to notice around those shapes and colors, there are more shapes and colors? And you might notice that the lens that you're looking out of is relaxing, like a camera. Oftentimes we're habituated to a narrow lens of attention. And now we're just going to relax attention in the visual field. Keep relaxing to include more and more and more of what can be seen. This array of shapes and colors, almost wrapping 3-dimensionally. Noticing even the shapes and colors of the parts of the body that you can see are in the scene of now. And keep relaxing and relaxing the way that you're looking until there's like an edgeless edge to the moment and your vision is resting, wide open, just like a camera lens. Wow. This is how a baby sees. A baby doesn't even know this body is me. We have to learn that. Prior to learning it, why the body is just part of the moment. View the whole moment as one thing, like a snow globe suspended in this moment of now. Letting seeing rest on the very edges of everything that can be seen. What is that like to look wide open? Is it foreign because of the way you usually pay attention? Or is it familiar? And now bringing attention to the space. Notice there is space between the shapes and colors. Actually, a baby sees the moment 2-dimensionally. We have to learn to see 3-dimensionally. But if you're seeing 3-dimensionally in this moment, Notice what makes things seem separate is the space in between them. We rarely notice the space. But what happens when we do? Now you're noticing both moment as snow globe, seeing everything there is to see equally and simultaneously, and at the same time, noticing the space that it's happening in. Even the body is part of the picture of now. And then is it possible to bring even the space to the fore of your attention? Noticing what that's like. Has the space that holds every moment, that holds all shapes and colors, has that ever changed? Does the space in which the moment appears ever come and go? And does the ability to see ever come and go? We may think yes, but don't we see the dark? Don't we notice the dark when eyes are closed? Or it's dark outside? What is it like to notice both seeing and space, and the whole moment equally and simultaneously seen? Does the mind get quieter? Now, just the way we were relaxed, the way we were seeing, let's relax the way we're listening. So often we're narrow focused on the sound of thinking and forget that there's a whole soundscape to this moment. So in this moment, just answer the question experientially. What other sounds are here besides the voices of thought? You might notice the sound of this voice. In this environment, there are birds. What other sounds are in the environment you are in? And is it possible to notice the way you're listening has to expand, has to relax, to include those sounds equally and simultaneously? And is it possible to notice that in between the sounds, either as distance or between the sounds themselves, for instance, the sound of this voice arising, there's a pause, and then disappearing. Each sound arising, disappearing. But what are they arising and disappearing into? Would that not too be the space of the moment? And is that space not silent? So this whole moment is held in silence, and sounds come and go and come and go. Just listen. This voice leaves. And in its place right here, a little pocket of silence, a little space. And we follow that, and we notice that silence extends to the whole moment, and all the sounds arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. But does the silence arise and disappear? And would you say that the silence is the same as listening? When you listen to thinking, aren't you listening from silence? You see, we didn't come in thinking. We came in with a silent, listening mind. That's how we learned. That's how we got full of words. But you see, the listening is always silent and always here. You still have a silent mind that hears all the sounds because it's listening from silence. Listening wide to the silent listening space, seeing wide if eyes are still open, seeing darkness and space if eyes are closed. Is it possible to notice breath? Is the breath not like a sound? Arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing, with a gap in between, just like the silence between the sound of this voice coming and going. A gap between breath. And can you notice that there's movement with breath, but the gap is still? is the gap between the movement of breath. Any different? Or is it silent, listening? Space. That is completely still. We might notice other sensations and that they come and go in the same silent stillness. And if you reach out, how far does stillness extend? The movement of sensation held in stillness. The movement of sound held in silent listening. The movement of shapes and colors. In the stillness of the space. This is a relaxed attention. And if attention narrows onto the sound of thinking, images of thought, you just ask the question, what other sounds are here? What else is here besides the image on my phone? What other sensations are here besides the one I say is painful? And then listen. Listen to what the sounds are happening in. What the visual moment, like sky, is happening in. The stillness that sensations are happening in. And we return to our innocence. When the moment was viewed in the absence of thinking, or when thinking was just a sound, just a voice, but had no meaning. What is it like to relax out of meaning? Thank you for joining me